This video is a direct response to a question posted in the CrazyTalk Animators users group on Facebook. And the question deals with how to create a spinning planet or a spinning globe effect for CrazyTalk Animator. The easiest and most convenient way is to do this in Adobe Flash or Adobe Animate and import that as a prop into CrazyTalk Animator. So I'm going to show you the mechanics of how this works. And I'm going to try to be as quickly and efficient as possible when I draw this. Let's see here. So I am going to basically just select the color, and I'm not going for strict accuracy here. I just want to be able to quickly do this. I think it looks something like that. Geography was never my best subject. I think Italy would be somewhere right here, and we'll put Africa maybe. I think Australia or something is down there. That's about as good as it's going to get. Like I said, I'm not going for accuracy or anything. I just want to be able to get this done quickly for demonstration purposes. I am using Toon Titan for quickly generating my colors. Toon Titan is available at toontitan.com, and it's a plugin for Flash or Adobe Animate, whatever you want to call it. There is another video in my channel related to the creation of visual cycles, so you might want to check that out because it's heavily related to the same thing I'm doing here. So I'm going to take this shape and I'm going to convert it into a shape that I can animate in a cycle. So convert it into a symbol by selecting it and pressing F8. So now I have one symbol of this. I'm going to duplicate it. Just move it over to the side here. That way I can take this and use it as a single shape. I'm going to convert that into a symbol. I'm just going to call it double. Doesn't really matter what you name it. So now I have this shape that has the same exact shape here as it has on this side. And what we do is we're going to animate it as an animation cycle. So I'm going to basically give it, I don't know, maybe 200 frames should be more than enough. I'm going to go to frame 200, insert keyframe, and then we're going to do a classic tween here. And that second keyframe, I'm going to turn on the onion skin so I can see, actually, you know what, let's take away that classic tween first. That way we're not seeing the tweens in the onion skin, so that when we move this, we can see the shadow of where the previous keyframe is. All we're doing is we're placing it right over the other one as best as possible. Maybe not immediately in front, but like just a little bit to the side, because the next frame that comes after this one is going to be this one. So we'll give that a little bit of padding there. So right click, create classic tween, take off the onion skin, and now we have something that looks like this. So it slowly moves right to left from one spot to the other. But when you play it by itself and you just play it indefinitely, you end up with a motion cycle that pretty much seems like it goes on forever. All right, so it's just going to keep going on forever and ever because of the way that we animated it and drew it. So that's going to be your first step, creating this motion cycle. The next step is we're going to create a couple more layers. We're going to take one of those layers and move it to the bottom. And here, we're going to draw a circle. You hold down the Shift key to draw a perfect circle. And if you want to draw from the center out, you hold down the Alt key at the same time. So you do that. So that should be about good enough. And maybe we'll mix in a gradient. So we'll open up the colors. Where is the color panel? Did they move it? Here it is. So in the color panel, we're going to select a radial gradient. So here we're going to basically go for maybe a blue. The second color is also going to be a blue. And they're not the same colors, obviously. Maybe this one a little bit brighter. This should just give us some kind of 3D looking effect. Maybe put the light source somewhere over here. Feel free to adjust the brightness even more if you like. So you end up with something that looks like that. And because it's a gradient, it just kind of goes from a lighter shade of blue to a darker one. So it gives it a kind of a 3D feel to it. If I turn off that layer, you can see how that shape looks. And I don't need that outline, so I'm going to delete it. So I'm going to take a copy of this and I'm going to place it on the top layer. Paste in place. And this doesn't really matter what color it is, we just need the shape itself. So we're going to convert that into a mask by right clicking that top layer, mask. So now this shape is going to be masking out this thing here. So only what's inside of the mask is displayed. So our end result is something that looks like this. Now if you want to get fancy, you can put some clouds in there. So let's go in here, for example. And in here, we're going to draw some clouds. We're going to hide that top layer there. Now these are absolutely not necessary, of course, but you know, they're kind of nice to have. So we're going to do the same thing with this shape. We just want to be able to create a motion cycle with these. So we're going to place them in a way that we can cycle them together. Control 8 to select everything except for that bottom. We're going to lock it. We just want to select those clouds. F8 to turn it into a symbol. And of course, now that it's a symbol, it can be animated. So maybe we'll adjust the size a little bit so it's not so like that. And we'll also adjust the alpha properties. Let's see here, color effect, alpha, make it a little bit transparent. And we're going to animate it. We're going to create a keyframe right there, F6 I believe, yep. And if we turn on the onion skin, we can move that. Let's see here. Maybe I shouldn't have done the alpha too much. Let's do the outline mode instead. That might work better for this. I can barely see where that outline is because of the color and the alpha shape. So maybe don't do the alpha before. So we're going to try to bring this to match that spot right there. So now we turn that off and we're gonna right click and select create motion keyframe there, or create classic keyframe. So we end up with something that looks like this. Okay. And that's if you want to have a continuous motion cycle. Of course, you can, you know, adjust that any way you like. So have a play with that. So we're going to lock that, and both of those layers are below that mask. So when we view everything like that, it ends up looking like this. And that's pretty much all you have to do. I'm going to go ahead and export this. I'm going to save it first. I'm going to call it Planet. and export it, and we're gonna launch CrazyTalk Animator. And that's pretty much all there is to it. I mean, if you're doing this for use inside of Flash, well, you know, you're pretty much done. But if you want to be able to use this inside of CrazyTalk Animator or Cartoon Animator, it's basically the same thing. It's just a matter of bringing in that SWF file, just dropping it in here, and there it is. Now, the way that Flash is being interpreted, you might see some kind of different shapes over here. It's not doing it quite round, and that's just the way that CrazyTalk is interpreting it. There should be a smooth modifier here somewhere in the deform, I believe. Smooth deformed object, that should help it. So that makes it perfectly smooth. And you have a planet that just keeps spinning forever. So now you can do some nice camera animations. You can like tilt it or something. You can adjust the colors a bit. It's all vector, so if you want to go in there and adjust the vector groupings, you have the ability to do that. So let's see here. Let's see if we can create a nice little camera effect. Alright, that should be more than enough for demonstration purposes. So there you go. Add some stars in the background and some spaceships flying, and you have yourself a spinning globe. Hope it helps.